Hello and welcome to the in-depth review of the GIGABYTE GA-990FX-Gaming motherboard. This video is basically a follow-up video to our unboxing video, so grab some popcorn, settle down, and enjoy the show. On the back I/O panel, I'd like to see more USB 3.0 ports. And weirdly, I'm sad to see that eSATA port gone, even though personally, I've never used one. The choice to drop an audio jack and place the optical audio port with the 3.5mm jacks was strange, especially for a board that touts its onboard audio as something special. There's no PCI slot in this motherboard, and honestly, I don't miss it. PCI Express 1X slots have more bandwidth, and they've long replaced PCI as the standard for new expansion cards. One annoying thing to note about this board is that the last 16X slot, which is actually a 4X slot, becomes a 2X slot when the last 1X slot is also in use. I suppose that's forgivable though, as the M.2 socket doesn't seem to have to share any of its PCI Express lanes. It's worth noting that the audio amp dip switches are covered by any double-wide graphics card that you put into your system, so you have to choose your setting before finishing your build. The inclusion of 4 USB headers, including a USB 3.0 header, is nice, especially considering the mediocre back panel. The G connector is actually something that I really like. It's a small touch, but it really helps, and if you lose it or for some reason don't want it, the front panel headers are color-coded on the PCB. The power button is really cool. I don't really have a solid reason for liking it, and unless I can use this in a future test bench build or something similar, I'm not going to use it very often, but I like having it. The debug LED readout is also super cool, and the CMOS clear and restart buttons are also nice minor touches. I did remove the VRM, North Bridge, and South Bridge heatsinks, which are all interconnected with heat pipes. It's worth noting that there are small plastic washers that you must be careful to set aside when removing the screws from the motherboard. After removing the heat sinks, this is what I found. If you're going to be doing much overclocking and you have an all-in-one cooler like the Corsair H-Series or Antec Cooler H2Os, then you're going to want some form of air movement on the VRM heatsink. The heatsink is designed to be cooled from the air coming off of the CPU cooler, and with water cooling, that airflow is often removed. I'll be making a mount for a couple of 40mm fans dedicated to cooling the VRM. So where does this motherboard stand in the array of options out there? Did GIGABYTE make a poor choice, producing an AM3 Plus motherboard so close to the release of AMD's next generation of CPUs? I don't think so. At $130 to $150, this certainly isn't a budget board, but it's also not outrageously expensive. It's one of the few options for AM3 Plus that offers a PCI Express 4X M.2 socket and USB 3.1 in both Type A and Type C variants. ASRock has a few ATX boards, and Asus has a very interesting 970 base motherboard that looks like it might be the best alternative to this GIGABYTE board. GIGABYTE has even produced a 970 version of this motherboard, so if you don't need all of the PCI Express lanes that this one offers, that might also be a good option to check out. All in all, with an 8 plus 2-phase VRM and support for the 9000 series of AM3 Plus chips, this board seems like a good way to somewhat future-proof a budget AMD build, and maybe even do a little overclocking in the process. We've made a complete walkthrough video of this board's BIOS that you can find linked in the description below. Thanks for watching, and if you like this format and you'd like to see more in-depth reviews like this, then let us know in the comments, and consider liking and subbing. I'm Chris, and this is XK Tech Reviews.